This is Professor Pete Alexander with the Winning at Business and Life podcast, where business leaders share their insights. It's 6 questions in 7 minutes because successful business leaders are busy and rarely have more time to spare. So let's get to it. Question number 1. In a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
Hi there, Pete. I'm Malcolm Bohm. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Liquid Grids here in San Diego, a company focused on digital marketing for the healthcare industry.
Malcolm, great to have you on the show. Question number 2. What's the best thing about working in your industry?
Oh, wow. You know what? I'm really lucky. I trained as a physician in the United Kingdom, and I went straight into the pharmaceutical industry. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to be able to actually impact more lives than I could probably do on a one-to-one basis treating patients, although, of course, it's a passion. So I have the advantage in my industry of making an impact on people's lives every day. The work that we are doing through our company, we're positively informing, supporting, and educating millions of people on a daily basis about their healthcare conditions. I think that's cool.
Oh, yeah, and it's making a huge difference. Question number 3. I hear from other business leaders that staying in a good work-life balance for them and their team members is a challenge. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, as an entrepreneur, it's 24/7 for me, 365 days a year. There's a certain character that absorbs that stress and ongoing commitment. But, you know, aside from myself, I take it very seriously that my team understands that I understand they have a life. And so one of the things that I do with my team, we have to curate millions of people through our communities every week. And at the weekends, I take over. They don't have to do anything. It keeps me real in terms of what's going on at the grassroots with all of our assets, but it allows the team to go off and have a weekend. They work hard during the week, and I'll take over. The other thing I say to my team in terms of work-life balance is, you know, this is 2020. You can work at home, and as long as the work is done well and it's done diligently, and you follow up with what you need to follow up, I don't care when it is done or how it is done or where it is done. I don't need those norms anymore. So, you know, there are different ways today in 2020 where you can apply work-life balance improvements just in simple ways.
Absolutely. And what you're describing there too, I assume really builds loyalty with your employees because they know that you have their back.
Self-directing. Yeah, they really appreciate it.
That's great. Question number 4. What other successful business leaders like yourself should be on my podcast?
Wow. Well, you know, there's some very interesting characters that I meet on a regular basis. You know, there's a new kind of business leader today in sort of the 2020 era, and I keep referring to our new decade. I find it very exciting. Excuse me. But influencers and super connectors are really fascinating people to me. I've met a few of them. Some of them are my friends. They have a unique ability to almost have like an index Rolodex in their heads. You should meet so-and-so, and so-and-so should meet you. And I find those people really fascinating. I have a lot of connections. I can't put those things together so quickly.
No,
I find it really amazing that people can, and I think those are great people to interview. And also the influencers, right? People in the healthcare industry that have hundreds of thousands of followers, and these people will follow their advice. And how you get to that kind of influence, I think, is really fascinating. I don't know if you've interviewed an influencer, but I would.
That's great advice. Thank you so much. Question number 5. What insight or advice would you give to other business leaders?
Oh, my mantra right now is if you're going to a meeting or you're going to a conference or you're going to any kind of interaction, go to give and not to get. Go to give and not to get. You know, for years, I've had this situation where, oh, here's my card, and this is card fest, right? And I almost feel like I'm getting into a shark pit, right? Everybody just wants a piece of it. And I just found actually more recently that it's much better to, you know, I'm a little bit older in my career, a little bit wiser maybe. I've seen a lot of things. I can give a lot of help and advice. So I prefer to take that position rather than going in saying, oh God, what am I going to get out of this meeting and get out as fast as I can. It just seems to come back to you in spades every time. So that's what I teach at the moment, is go in with the objective of giving versus getting.
I think that's wonderful. And I would think that by taking that approach, you build trust with those that you're meeting.
I think it certainly builds trust. Yeah, and it brings down a barrier, right? I mean, you know, it just disarms everybody in the room if you're not there clearly, obviously trying to sell something or get something.
Absolutely. And question number 6, tell me about your first job.
Oh man, that takes me back a long way, Peter. Gosh, my first job. Okay, I was joining Syntex Pharmaceuticals in Edinburgh, Scotland, and I had come from a PhD lab where I was writing my PhD, and I was shown into my own office, and there was a computer there. I'd never had one, and the first thing my boss did with me, her name was Sarah Leal, and she sat me down and she introduced me to email. I'd never heard of it before. And I remember this very first time, this naive young Englishman in his own office with his own computer on an email system in a pharmaceutical company. I thought I was on the super highway. I really did. It was an amazing journey. It takes me back. Thank you for asking.
Sure, that's a great story. Malcolm, thank you for being on the show. How can people find you?
Malcolm at liquidgrids.com, or visit the website liquidgrids.com.
Perfect. This is Professor Pete Alexander with the Winning at Business and Life podcast. For more insights and advice, please go to LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook and search for Winning at Business and Life podcast. Thanks for listening.